Welcome to Shop Foreman Garage, working with World Car Auto Group. And today we are doing a recall on the CX-5 5321K. It is a fuel pump replacement recall. The fuel pumps in these vehicles had issues where the impeller would come loose or stop rotating or whatever. The pump would keep going, but the impeller's not pumped. Basically, it ain't pumping anymore. And so we're replacing the fuel pump. It's a pretty simple process, and we're just gonna get right into it. Oh no. This is a 2016 Mazda CX-5, and what we are going to have to do, we have to remove this rear seat from here, and because we need to pull the fuel pump out. So the rear seat comes out. There's a tab. Let's see if I can show this to you. There's a tab right there. You see that white tab right there? I'm just gonna move it over like that. I just move that tab over. The seat comes up, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this other side here. Just reach in, feel the tab, move it over, same direction. The seat comes right up. Basically, pull the thing out with one hand, just like that. And here's the cover we're gonna get into. The fuel pump. Top of the fuel pump is underneath there, on top of the fuel tank, of course. One thing that we need to look at is the fuel level. So turn the key on, and I don't know if you can see that, it has under 3/4 of a tank. So if it was 3/4 of a tank or more, we would actually have to drain fuel from it, because whenever we pull the fuel pump out, the fuel could just like come out and go all over, because the top of the fuel pump actually sits lower than the top of the tank. So if it was over 3/4 of a tank, 3/4 of the tank or over, we would have to drain some fuel. Since it's under 3/4 of a tank, barely under, we don't have to drain any fuel. So probably whenever we pull that fuel pump out, the fuel level is going to look pretty high in there. So let's start taking that apart, pull that fuel pump out of there. All right, let's get in here. And these are tools that I'm going to use to take this off. This is just a little hook right here, and I got a couple of clean rags and basically a screwdriver. So let me set this up and pull these screws out. Get the connector for the fuel pump and fuel sending unit, and then I got this connector right here. This is for, of course, the fuel pressure. So this does have pressure in it, so I'm gonna make sure that I push on it so it doesn't pop off. I use this clip to kind of get underneath here, and then I'm gonna take a rag, throw that over so it doesn't shoot fuel everywhere. Fuel does come out, it's not that bad. And then I'm just gonna kind of shove that up underneath there, just like that. Clean this up. Okay, and put these little screws in here. Gotta get these out. and really small. You got to be careful not to strip that tip, because if you do, then you're in for a world of hurt. And of course, doing this recall, if any of these screws were to strip out or break, then we would have to replace them as part of the recall. That's all of them. Set all those aside. Okay. Pull this off. And pull this up. And we're pulling the entire fuel pump module out. And get the seal out of there. We're pulling the entire module out, but the only thing we're replacing is the pump on the module. And the pump is inside the module itself. So I need to get a container so I can put this in so I'm not spilling gasoline all over the customer's vehicle. Okay, I got a container here. I'm gonna pull this out, stick it right into the container. I'm gonna try and dump whatever fuel is in here into the tank. So I'm gonna pull it out. Got to be careful of the fuel sending unit. The floater is still sticking down there. So I'm gonna turn this and start to dump this fuel the best I can into the fuel tank. Okay, that's starting to get inside, so pull that out right into this bucket here. Clean up any fuel spilled right there. And I'm gonna take this rag, not that it matters too much, but I'm gonna put it over here, try and keep fumes out of the customer's living area, basically. And now we got this. I'm gonna bring this over here and I'm gonna set it up on here and let that drain a little bit until I'm ready to grab it. Then I need to go and prep for doing this recall. Okay, this is pretty much drained, right? So what I meant by prepping, I'm pretty much just cleaning off this table right here and getting what tools I need. The only tool that I need is this pair of pliers and my pocket screwdriver. And we're going to be taking this thing completely apart. So the first thing we're going to do is we need to get this sending unit off of here. This is kind of like a rheostat. And that area right there you do not want to touch with your fingers, because it can contaminate it, and then it won't work, and you don't want your fuel sending unit not working. So I'm going to pull these cables out here. There's a little connector right there, and I'm going to pull this out, and then the same with this side right here. And this has a little plastic tab right there. I'm just gonna move that over, push it up, just like that. That's it. This rod right here on this side has a spring, and right here there's a clip. When I push it down, you see that's like a little C clip, E clip. And I'm going to use this pliers to grab that and pull it off, just like that. So there's the clip, and the kit comes with a new clip. So I'm going to pull this off like that. Okay, now that we got that out, we need to pop this piece right here out, and it has a plastic clip right here, and these are all plastic, so yeah, they can break. So you got this plastic clip right there, and then we spin it around. There's another one right here. Oops. Get that up. Make sure this one doesn't pop back in. And then there's another one right here. Pop that one out. And then we pull this out. And of course, everything's still connected together with all these hoses and tubes and stuff. And now here's the sock. We got to pull the sock off. So it's got the same sort of clips. Got one there, got one here, and then there's one right over here. And of course these two. And there's your fuel pressure regulator. And of course, depending on which model you have, these are kind of configured a little bit differently. If you ask me, the CX-5 is one of the easier ones to do. Get that off of there. It looks like this popped back in. Let's get this pop out. Okay, there it is. So set that aside, and there's the fuel pump that we're taking out, and it's just kind of stuck in there. So we need to unhook this right here, and the fuel pump is right inside there, and I'm just going to kind of push it with my screwdriver, and then it just pops right out, and fuel goes everywhere. And then we look and make sure we got this little spacer right here and this seal right there. Those are on it. So then I need to disconnect this because we're going to reuse that. As long as it's not damaged, and this one is not damaged, we're going to reuse it. If it is damaged, then we would put a new one. This, according to Mazda, needs to be scrapped. Just throw it away. So what I do is I throw it in there. And if you look in here, I got a whole bunch of them. I just done so many of these. There's just a bunch. Right. These are one of the pumps that I used when I was getting my Pontiac Firebird running in one of the prior videos. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link right up here in the corner, and go check that out. Pontiac Firebird formula. It's been sitting around for 17 years, and I got it up and I got it running. It's going to be my drag and drive car, and we're going to do a lot of videos, a lot of stuff on that. So let's get back to this. Okay, now we have the new pump kit and everything in here. Here is our spacer, our seal, and our little clip right there. Here's the new pump. So let's get these out. The new pump. And open these up. There's this clip, spacer, and the seal. Throw all this trash away. And I mean, it is as easy as it looks. Put the spacer on, put the seal on, and I could look down inside there and make sure there isn't anything that's going to block us from getting it in. And you can see way down in the center there, that's where this has to go. I like to put a little bit of this rubber care, just spray just a little bit. There's nothing in this can. Just spray just a little bit on this seal, just so it pops into place better. And oh wait, I need to get this on. Get this on, straighten this out. This actually helps me line it up. I need to get it through the hole there. Coming out the other side. Get this down. Make sure it's centered. Just pop it in, just like that. It's coming out the other side there. and then pop this on. And of course this little hole right there needs to line up with that. So I'm going to stick this on, look at that, make sure it's going to line up. It looks like it is. Yep, and it just popped right into place. And everything popped into place and it is lined up right there. And of course, get that hooked over there, right there like that. This is going to roll around. Make sure that these lines right here, these tubes, they don't get twisted or nothing. And this one tube is going to sit underneath there, so make sure, don't leave it out. Make sure it goes up underneath there like that. And make sure all the clips on all sides are lining up. This is the hardest one to line up on this side with this tube getting in the way, but that's it. Let's pop that down in there. Easy, just like that. Looks like our spring came off, so that's no big deal. The spring goes on the one that has the little edge on it, right? Stick the spring on. Get the lower one hooked into the hole where it goes. Push your spring up against there. Get them both lined up actually. So push that up, hold it. Wait, where's my clip? There it is. That clip. Pop it into there. Make sure it's in place. It just popped in. And that is it. Right? Okay. Now we need to get these hooked up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, stick this back on there. Remember, you don't want to touch that. It just slides down into this little T right there. Just like that. Pop it in like that. This one goes on first. Then this one. Get this looped around, get that looped around, and then we're done. We're ready to go back. The only other thing I have is, of course, I got a new seal. Get the new seal out. Double bags. I want to make sure it's fresh, and I'm just gonna loop that around here, rather than stretching it over the top. Not that it matters that much, but I just don't want to put any more stress on it than I really need to. And then now we're going to get this put in. Well, while we're over here looking at this, I want to show you this. This is Mazda 3. The customer came in complaining about the transmission not shifting. They said it wasn't shifting in reverse. It shifts in reverse, but it defaults to third gear, and we got no communication with the transmission control module. I made a video, it was a short video on performing the diagnostics on this transmission control module and how we can do that, and I put it on the Facebook page, the Shop from My Garage Facebook page. You should check that out. I'll put a description I'll put a link in the description box below so you can check that out, where I'm going to be adding short little videos, tips and tricks, and you know, maybe I'll even, you know, meet some of the other technicians in the shop and just let you know, hey, this is what's going on in the shop today. Just check out that Facebook page, and don't forget to like and subscribe too. All right, let's get this out of the way. I'm gonna stick this back in there. Some of the vehicles actually have a saddle tank, and there's a tube that goes the other side of the tank, and it comes out and it sticks into here. Those are a little bit more difficult to get out. Like I said, the CX-5 is one of the easier ones. So usually I mark where this little spot goes so I can, you know, so then it's easier for me to get this centered up, but it's not that big of a deal. This piece, this little notch right here is going to go right into here. I don't know if you can see that. It's going to go right into there. And I need to push it down and line up the holes where the holes are underneath it before I actually pop the thing down. Okay, get the holes lined up and just kind of pop it down a little bit just to make sure everything lines up, because there is a little, once it's popped in, there is a little bit of slack here, so we want to make sure that we're going to be able to line everything up. And then get a couple of these screws going. And then just so that it pops down easily, I get a couple of them going. But I don't tighten them all down. You just kind of get them started before you tighten them down. And I'll get 4 in here just to make sure everything is going to line up before I start tightening them. Okay, so we'll go to the next one, and we'll just start tightening them. And of course, you want to be careful with these, because if they break, then you gotta extract them and put new ones. And sometimes they do break. It also helps to have a screwdriver tip that is sharp enough to keep this on there. And this is not magnetic, it's just sharp enough to keep it on there. Means that it will go to the bottom of the screw and not strip out. At least that's the idea. Okay, so that's all that. And I'll plug this back in, clip it on, take this, plug that in there. That's done. Get the cover. Arrow points forward, going forward, right? Get these screws in. Make sure I got my tools and stuff out of here. And then we put the seat back. Okay, putting this seat in is not as easy as it is taking out. You actually need 2 hands. Okay, it's not that bad. But I need to feed these seat belt buckles through these holes. And so I need 2 hands. And then you just pop it down, make sure it's in place. That's it. Just like that. We just needed to get these seatbelt buckles through there, and it's all good. Now let's start it up and see if she runs. And get these doors closed. Start her up, and that easily And if you can see, we're still sitting right under quarter of a tank, or 3/4 of a tank rather. And sometimes if you need to actually drain the fuel, these can be kind of a pain. It's not hard to drain the fuel. I mean, the fuel pump was still working. I mean, we drove it in, you know, so you just disconnect the fuel pump hose from the top and jump the relay and let the pump that you're replacing, you know, drain the fuel out. And we have a caddy, fuel caddy, just for good fuel that we'll put fuel in, and then I can hand pump it back into the tank. But sometimes whenever you do that, it you have the key on whenever you're draining the fuel out of it. Then the fuel gauge goes low, and then whenever you put fuel back in, the fuel gauge stays low, and then you have problems dealing with it. And then when you have problems dealing with the gauge not wanting to come back up after you put fuel back in it, then you have to do a complete reset of the system, check codes, clear codes, whatever, drive it again, and you know, do the hokey pokey and stuff, and then it finally starts working. A lot of times that will automatically come back up. You go out and you drive on the road long enough, it'll automatically come back up. But customers that come in with over 3/4 of a tank, and then you give it back to them and it has like 1/4 of a tank, and you tell them, oh, just drive it, it'll be fine. They don't tend to believe you. They think that you took fuel out and didn't put it back in. So yeah, it can be a pain to try and get that to come back up without wasting a bunch of time driving on the road or anything like that. It looks like this customer's got this little maintenance light on. Let's see what that's about. Check their maintenance status monitor maintenance. Oh, they got this in set in kilometers. So, in 2,761 kilometers. It's time to change the oil or whatever. But if you see this right here, the schedule, they got 0 days, it says so in 0 days. So that's why that wrench light is on, is because of the 0 days, not the 2,761 kilometers. If I were to back out of this, it looks like they have everything set the same. They got tire rotation, oil change set the same. If you have one of these vehicles, guys, there ain't no sense of setting all three of them. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you're going to be changing the rotating your tires every single time that you change an oil, do an oil change, just set one. Or you could do the tire rotation and the oil change. But why are you setting the other one unless you want to set that one for you know, whenever the time runs out, I'm going to change my cabin filter or something. You know, other than that, there's no reason to have this, because they obviously still have a bunch of miles till the next service, but it's saying 0 days. So now you're driving around with a wrench light on. So I would just go in and just delete that, you know, reset it. I wouldn't even reset it. I would just go to settings and turn it off. But it's not my vehicle, so I'm not going to do that unless the customer actually requested it. Other than that, you know, we're pretty much done. That's the entire recall. It's fairly easy, like I said, especially on the CX-5. It's easier on some of the other models. The CX-3, you don't have the screws holding the fuel pump into the tank. You actually have another mechanism you got to put on there and unlock it and screw it off and stuff like that. If it was Mazda Miata, a Roadster, that's a whole nother animal right there. The Roadster, half the vehicle has to come apart. In the back of the vehicle, where the roof goes down into, all the trim, your seats, the trim, all behind it, all the trim has to come out. You got metal brackets and braces and stuff that got to come up and everything, just to get to the top of the cover that's over top of where the fuel tank is. You can pull that cover off, and once you get that cover off, and then you can finally see where the gas tank is, and you can, you know, unscrew it. It's got screws just like these do, you know, but your screwdriver or drill, it ain't gonna fit under there, and there's a brace that sits right above it so that you can't take out. It's like part of the car. I mean, you pull the body apart, I guess, but then once you get those screws loose, there's not enough room between the body and that brace that goes up on top for the fuel pump to come out. So you actually have to compress the fuel pump. You know how that thing, this one had that spring where it would compress down? You got to compress it completely down and hold it from the bottom and get it out and wiggle it out of there. And oh yeah, it takes all day. It does. So if you have one of these recalls that you haven't done, you know, I mean, get it done. You don't want to get standing on the side of the road with a fuel pump that doesn't work. But if you have a Miata, you know, Roadster, expect to leave the vehicle all day, because it is a lot of work. You get all that stuff apart just to do this, swap this pump, then put it all back together. It takes a long time. That's about it for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.